Hey everybody, this is Mike, and I'm back with the next installment of my top 100 games of all time as of 2024. We're looking at numbers 60 to 41, but shh, what if this was actually the top 20 and I just tricked everybody and then I trolled people with the 20 through 1 video and it was all like love letter variants or something? That'd be wild, right? I'm not doing that. It is actually the 60 through 41 games, but that's fine. Let's hear what they are, get to the list. Once again, I'll have a mix of competitive, solo, cooperative, old, new, just anything that caught my fancy. Let's get to them. So first at number 60 is Dungeon Pets. This is a competitive Euro game, no solo mode. Man, I wish. That's designed by one of my favorite designers of all time, Vlaada Chvátil. And this one, first of all, I always loved the theme. You are recruiting these little pet monsters and then trying to feed them and take care of them in the right way to make them grow up big and strong. You gotta shovel their poop. You gotta get the right cages for them and decorate them in the right way. It has a really fun twist on worker placement where you build groups of workers, and larger and smaller workers give you different initiative order and let you activate different actions. I always thought that was a lot of fun. The actual taking care of the pets can be pretty random and swingy, but in a fun Vlaada Chvátil Galaxy Trucker-ish, oh no, everything goes wrong kind of way. So yeah, I continue to adore this one even more than Dungeon Lords, although I think most people would say that's probably the better, more strategic Euro. Dungeon Pets is where it's at for me. It's my number 60. Then at number 59, I have The Seventh Continent, one of my favorite adventure games. Now, this is just standing in until Seventh Citadel delivers, which is supposed to be soon. As of the actual airing of this video, it might be out. I loved what I played of that prototype, but for now, I got to talk about Seventh Continent. This one is going to be polarizing. It's even polarizing for me sometimes. It's an exploration game for solo or cooperative play. You're going around this island discovering things. It has great just kind of emergent narrative of discovery and finding things on the island. It gives you a great sense of finding and memorizing things. If you know where things are, you can play the game better. But it also has a lot of grind. You can die suddenly, and if you don't play with the variants that give you extra lives, you have to repeat everything all over again. The card system where you're drawing cards to do tests can be a lot of fun, but can also be really punishing, and you can just make the wrong choices and things can not go in your favor. But yeah, the building of tools, the exploration, the variety of the quests, the feeling of learning the island. Again, this is one of the best games ever, I think, for feeling you're really exploring a harsh environment. Games like Robinson Crusoe and stuff are fun, but this one feels like I'm there, and with the expansions, things get even better and more varied. So love this one until Seventh Citadel is here. The Seventh Continent, my number 59. Then at number 58 is one I hadn't played in a while. It's another chip theory game, Burn Cycle. I said it when I reviewed it. I still believe it. This is my favorite implementation of a stealth system in a board game. This is a solo cooperative infiltration of different floors on different missions. It has this really cool dice resolution system where you use dice for your actions. It has amazing variety in the characters you can play and the abilities you unlock for them, using network cards and terminals to pull off cool tricks. I love how the guards work and the patterns they go through and how you can trick them and do different fun things with them. You can play it fast and loose and just try to smash everybody. You can play it very sneaky style. Things change up with the missions. Just a great game overall. Really tactically engaging and fun. Really great thematics. It can be a little tough to get to the table. It took me a while to play it again, but when I did, I remembered how much I loved it for this list. So that's my number 58, Burn Cycle. Next, at number 57 is another very recent release. I just covered this. This is Jekyll and Hyde versus Scotland Yard, a two-player only cooperative trick taker. And yeah, it's very new, but here's the thing. I like it better for two-handed play of trick taking than The Crew, than Fox and the Forest Duet, than Sail. Great trick taking games. I'm a lover of trick taking, and this is, for my money, at least at this point, the best two-player cooperative trick taker out there, which, is not a big genre, but still there are a lot of them. I love the card play. I love the variety in the missions. It's just a blast. If you're a trick-taking fan, you gotta give this one a chance. Jekyll and Hyde versus Scotland Yard, my number 57. Then at number 56 is a solo classic. It is also cooperative or competitive, but I don't know anybody who really plays it that way. This is Dawn of the Zeds 3rd edition. Great game of tower defense with amazing variety in characters and how your team develops. Awesome event system that makes things very different. Crazy things what you see right here, a ninja riding a horse. But it's just an awesome game. Super tense. It has too many rule books, but it also allows you to have a ton of variety in the way you play. So it's kind of cool. I don't know. Now, the weird thing is Plum Island Horror is out now, and I've played that a bit. Do I like it better than Dawn of the Zeds yet? it's hard to say. It's a little bit longer. And I'm not sure if they quite get the difficulty right yet, but they have an expansion coming, which might help with that. But then I also heard tell that there might be like a new version of Dawn of the Zeds coming. So I'm not sure where like this spot might fall out in the future. But for now, I'm just giving it to the one that I played the most and know the most. Dawn of the Zeds 3rd edition, and an extreme close-up of Mike's thumb and hand. Everyone loves that. This is my number 56. And for number 55, I've got one of my favorite recent beautiful narrative games. This is Isla and Something Shiny, which was almost impossible to find, but thanks to North Star Games, now it's a little bit more available. This one is very similar to Paleo in that you have a deck of cards that you're going through, but the cards are kind of like changing and you're adding cards and removing cards. It has a beautiful, kind of at times heartbreaking story that I play with my kids, I play with my wife. This is like technically a one-off game, except it has some branching paths and different endings. I've played it like 10 times. I just love the core gameplay so much, the charming art, the cool story. I want more games in this style. Like I want another Isla or just like another game that uses this mechanic besides Paleo in a new narrative format. This one is great. Definitely worth giving a try. That's Isla and Something Shiny, my number 55. Next, at number 54 is Small World, and this one is a classic area control game with different factions and kind of like bidding in a way on factions and then putting them into decline, like kind of turning them off to bring in new factions and conquer things again. This one is definitely high up in my list because my son really enjoys it. I really love it for competitive play. They did come out with an official solo mode. I did a video of it, which is what's on screen. It's not the way to play the game. Like, it works, but it's not the best look for the game. It's fine. Definitely competitive is the way to go. 2 players good, more is even better. But yeah, this is one that if you are willing to invest in some expansions, they have some really cool, like, different modes to add in, like the Sky Islands and all this crazy stuff, having all the variety of, like, factions and how they match up and, like, deciding which things are cool, just the tactical puzzling out of how to capture the most points. It is always a blast, great to play against solo, maybe not the best way to play it, but it's still a good time overall. That is Small World, my number 54. And then number 53 was a tough choice. I wasn't sure if I was going to put this on the list, y'all. This is Rallyman GT or Rallyman Dirt. They're both good. Rallyman stole a lot of my money, everybody. I backed all in Rallyman Dirt, plus added in some like Rallyman GT stuff. It's like $180, $200. And then the company went bankrupt, and it's like in Canada, and some people got it in Europe, and now like I think a new company is getting the rights to it, but maybe they aren't. I certainly haven't heard anything about them getting my game. So yeah, it hurt me. If it hadn't, maybe it would be like in the top 30 or 20. I don't know. There's a different racing game that I like better now, though. That one's going to come later. But yeah, Rallyman GT, still a fun racing game. It's cool. The dice are interesting. I like the racing. It feels like the way they do turns is very nuanced, but still quick to play. The excitement of choosing whether to roll all your dice or go one by one is consistently great. I do love the game, kind of, even though it hurts my soul. That's Rallyman GT and Dirt, my number 53. Next, to number 52, I had mentioned, I think in the last video, how much I like cooperative deduction games, and this is one of the best. Paint the Roses. Every player's involved. You're putting down tiles and trying to give people hints about what your like little cards matching icons and things are, but especially in higher player counts, every tile gives clues about every player. And the delicious discussion, trying to figure things out, puzzle things out, and really just like figuring out where the best place to place your tiles are. And then if you get the expansion, you can add in all these crazy modules. I honestly don't usually use them. It's a little bit too much for me. But yes, a awesome, puzzly, deductive game. I love it for cooperative play. That is Paint the Roses, my number 52. Then number 51, we've got another competitive only one, For Sale. This was a heavy inspiration for a game I named earlier, one of our designs, Dark Dealings. It's a game in 2 parts. The first part, you are getting these houses, and then in the second part, you are using the house. So you bid with money to get the houses, and like highest bidder gets it. And then you do blind bidding in the second phase to sell the houses for the highest check possible. It's a great filler, just consistently tense and fun and exciting. Plays in like 10 minutes. We actually played a lot on Board Game Arena, like just Peter and Jerry and I, whenever we're bored, like on an online gaming night. It's great in person too. Can't recommend this one enough if you like sort of bidding, push your luck kind of quick filler games. That is For Sale, my number 50. And man, that takes us halfway through the list. Woo! So now we're in the better half. the last half was the weak half. Let's get to the strong half with number 50, Last Will. Back to Czech Game Edition, one of my favorite publishers. This one is not Vlaada Chvátil, but it is a fabulous game. Now, I have not played the Prodigal Club, I think it's called, which is sort of a follow-up to this one that can also integrate it. But Last Will has a very fun premise. It's similar to, what's it called? Brewster's Millions, I think it is, with Richard Pryor, maybe, where you are trying to get rid of your money. You are trying to spend as much of your money as quickly as possible. And it is very much an engine building game where you're like having all these interlocking like staff members and locations and activities and just trying to like blow your money as quickly as possible, but not blow your money too quickly because you need to like have money to buy the stuff that lets you spend the money. It's a great interplay, a great system, fun, like goofy gameplay, but also a really in-depth and interesting Euro. That is my number 50, Last Will. And it's a Czech Game Edition double feature. We've got Space Alert at number 49. This is a solo cooperative real-time programming game where you're trying to move around a ship and survive. Amazing challenge in the game. You're going to die so many times, but that's half the fun. And it has so much variety in like the enemies you can face, especially once you get the expansion. Just crazy combos of things coming at you. And in a solo game, it's a great optimization puzzle. You have basically full control over things. You just got to make the cards be in the exact places you want them to be. Whereas in co-op, it's just a chaotic mess of communication challenges, which is also great. Now, this one, the big challenge with it, why it's not like in my top 20, is that it's just so hard to get to the table because solo is really challenging and stressful. And then cooperative, you have to like really teach people the game like through multiple tutorials before they can really play it well. But putting those concerns aside, awesome game if you like real time. That is Space Alert, my number 49. And then number 48, I've talked about a lot of hidden trader games. This is probably the one that I have the best memories with and just the fondest feelings toward overall. And that is Battlestar Galactica. Now, again, I know they made a new version that was like Arkham themed, Undaunted, Unfounded. I don't know. Anyway, I never played that. But Battlestar, we were big fans of the reboot series of Battlestar. We watched that to death. My friends all watched it. And this was the same group that I played the other hidden trader games I've mentioned, Resistance and One Night Ultimate Werewolf. And Battlestar was more epic. Like it took forever, like 3 hours. Sometimes it'd be obvious who was going to win. But this game bleeds theme and creates the best stories ever. Like the time that my wife like tricked me and airlocked me and murdered me, or the time that like we got overrun and somebody jumped in a fighter jet and barely saved the day. It's just a great emergent story machine. Amazing tension in the gameplay, trying to figure out who the traders are. And even when you are a trader, it's like still not always obvious how you want to play things and what you want to do. And again, I like the IP it's based on. So that's my number 48, Battlestar Galactica. Then for number 47, I've got another deck builder. This one is Baseball Highlights 2045. Is that I don't know. Anyway, this is my favorite type of deck builder where when you add a card, you get rid of an older, weaker card. That's something we put into our upcoming design, Flame and Fang. I just really like that kind of replacement, keep your deck thin, lean and mean kind of system. This one has really fun play of the game where it's like facing off batters and like players against each other and trying to counter your opponent's stuff. That's in a competitive game, but it's also great for solo. The solo is a little bit more random, but you can kind of learn what's in the enemy deck and then build your deck accordingly to cancel it. And it's got a great build because in the solo game, you start out super weak and they have a ridiculous deck, but then you'll kind of match them in strength as you go along, and it always gives sort of a Cinderella story chance that you might win in the last second. So yeah, just a lot of fun. Whether you like baseball or not, it's just a good deck building game. That's my number 47, Baseball Highlights 2040 something. Then at 46, we've got one of my favorite games from recent memory. This is Oathsworn, a big narrative campaign boss battler. The story is great in this. The narration they've gotten for it is awesome. The choose your own adventure stuff is okay. Like you end up in the same basic path, but kind of deciding where you want to go is pretty fun. But then the boss battles themselves, that's where it's at. Great variety in the bosses, fun card play and like a cooldown system with the characters. And this game is so modular. It has dice or cards for resolution. It's got the awesome system of having like helpers that aren't full characters that now the upcoming Dante Inferno is also doing. I want that in like all these kind of games where you have to control a lot of characters. This is an awesome adventure game. It's big, it's expensive, but if you like these kind of games, it's absolutely worth it. That's Oathsworn, my number 46. And then let's keep the tactical adventure going with number 45, which is Cthulhu Death May Die. Get out of here, Zombicide. All I want is Cthulhu. This is a great modular game where you get to mix and match characters and degrade old ones and scenarios. The scenarios are varied. The old ones change things up. It's got a great system where you just shuffle all the cards together and mix and match things that way. And then it's got a great system where you level up by getting closer to death, which is consistently tense. The fights are wild. The dice rolling is exciting. And then I'm really into what I played on TTS of the upcoming expansion, where you can give yourself like artifacts to get stronger, but balance it with more enemies, or just make the game easier if you want to like play with your kids. I think it's an awesome modular system, a great tactical game overall. That's Cthulhu Death May Die, my number 45. Then getting near the end, my number 44 is a very recent one, Challengers, the base game or Beach Cup. I don't care. They both work great. I think Beach Cup is slightly more strategic. But yeah, this is an auto battler with almost complete randomness. Like you get a lot of choice in how you build your team out, but then you're just flipping cards and seeing who wins. It's got a solo mode and it works. it is a way to play. It's not the way to play, but certainly I am ranking this so high because I adore this game competitively. My kids like it. I brought it to game nights. They've enjoyed it. Like my coworkers, when I played it with them, it's just an easy one to throw down. You can play with up to 8 people, up to 16 people if you get both sets. Not that I really want to play it that way. It's fast, it's fun, it's frenetic, it's simultaneous. You do feel like you have strategy. You feel like you have control over your deck. You probably have less than you think you do, but it feels cool to build your deck and battle with it. And yeah, it's just quick, mindless fun sometimes, and I like that for some of my game nights. So that is my number 44, Challengers. Then I'm coming back to a fully solo only game that is Under Falling Skies, my number 43. This is, compared to Challengers being mostly like a random kind of fun fest, even though this one is dice placement, it has a ton of strategy. I love the mechanic of placing dice to activate places, but also bringing down the enemies based on the die value you used. It makes things tense and exciting, and the variety in the campaign and the scenarios and the cities and the different buildings available to you and like all these events you can have and stuff. It's a small game, like originally a PNP, that has grown to be incredibly varied and exciting. One of my favorite dice placement games out there. That is Under Falling Skies, my number 43. And yeah, Cthulhu is going to keep coming back quite a bit in these lists, people, because number 42, I've got Eldritch Horror. And I'll say this is kind of standing in for like Arkham Horror 2nd Edition as well, which is my second favorite of like these big adventure Arkham games. I didn't like 3rd Edition nearly as much. But yeah, this game is a worldwide chase, great variety in characters with all the expansions, like tons of different ways to play the game, really fun like builds, fun events, fun like emergent narrative and like goofy stories to read, different old ones to go against. It is an exciting adventure romp that never really gets old, well, as long as you're willing to buy enough stuff to keep it fresh. That's my number 42, Eldritch Horror. And then finally for number 41, whoa, what? Didn't you just cover this last week, Mike? Yes, I did. This is Agamonia. And wow, people. So yeah, this is like one of the newest games, and it's so high on the list, almost in the top 40. But here's the reason why. I'm almost done the campaign, like I'm more than halfway there, and it continues to be amazing. I want to play it again with like another group. It's kind of like a dream game for me. Like it gives some of the feeling of like something like Seventh Continent, of exploring a map and cool things happening, but it's so focused with like these little pages in the book. The characters are varied. The story, I don't know if I've ever seen narrative done so well in a campaign. Like not every narrative beat like works 100%, but the like separate booklets for each character. So feeling like I'm like getting to know these people and their like goals and desires separate from like the overall party goal. This game is a blast. It really impresses me. And yeah, it's over Oathsworn for me already. It's over Oathsworn, which is another great campaign adventure game. Yeah, so that is my number 41, Agamonia, and that is the last item for this list. Only 2 more to go. Top 40 and then top 20. So yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you're enjoying these. Let me know which games you are shocked to see on the list. Let me know what some of your favorites are, and we'll see you in another week with Almost the End. Good gaming, everyone, and I'll see you at the next stop.